Hey class, I just wanted to show you some examples and clarify some of the week 3 iLab leaf requirements. So you see that we have one artboard here, and so basically you want to create 4 different sections for your 4 leaves, and it talks about what you want to what elements and principles you want to go over, and it talks here about how to scan your leaf or take a picture and how to create this kind of configuration in Illustrator. So this is what it's going to look like, and then the specs are 10 by 10. So anyway, I just wanted to show you some examples of things that work and that things that don't work, or things that work a little bit. So overall, this one came out really pretty good, though some of the design elements are a little unclear. The design looks good. Obviously this is line and maybe a little bit of rhythm. This could be scale, proportion. So these two, it's a little unclear. So again, if you could state what design element or principle you used, it really helps when I'm grading. Probably you'll pick up some more points. So this one, they tried to do this thing where they made leaf, 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 leaf. So, I mean, it's okay. It's kind of interesting, but it doesn't really, it doesn't really suit the assignment all that much, but it's kind of cool. This one, let me see if I can make it bigger. What you want to do too is stay away from filters and effects that are in Illustrator, and too much gradients if there's not a reason for it. This just doesn't, when you think of design elements, I mean texture, yes, but you could create your own texture too. Whoops, gosh darn it, I hate when it does that. This is kind of cool, and she drew these puzzle pieces out. So again, it's almost like making more out of the idea than what the assignment really is about. So, I mean, it's fine, but again, creative but not really fitting the assignment all that much. So let's look at this one. So another thing that you want to avoid is using too many of these little clip art things that come in Illustrator. And again, we've got repetition, we've got a little bit of scale, we've got some color. But really not all that much. I mean, it's a cute idea, but again, they didn't really, this is just a canned image. And same here, these weren't drawn themselves. It's just, one of those fills. Now this one's pretty cool, and she did this herself. So I kind of like the little scene, and it's got repetition. It's kind of interesting, even though, the background's so dark, you can't really see these lines. Again, I like the layout, but again, it's another image from the software, so you're just not going to get as high of a score if you just use too many canned images and clip art stuff in the software. So just to let you know. Now this one's really pretty cool. I love this. I just love how this kind of root's going out here. And she drew this. I mean, of course, she just made this one leaf and copied it. But I think this one and this she didn't. I can't remember. I don't think she did. I think that's a canned thing. And again, it's okay. Like a pattern. Texture. This is great for texture. She wanted to do something Christmas-y. And again, this one's pretty simple, but it's fine because, the thing with design elements is that if you use black and white, it can be clearer what it's about. So feel free just to use black and white. And again, these examples here show that. And again, since these are drawn, this is really a terrible scan. They should have cleaned it up in Photoshop. But but there's lines. There's a whole bunch of different things here. And since they did it themselves, they drew it. It doesn't. It's more original. It doesn't have just a canned software look to it. So let's go back out here. Because it's just too easy to use the software. And again, I kind of like the repetition of the heart, but I think that there could be more variety with this. You could have scaled some a little bit differently, but I think it's kind of a cool idea. This is kind of cool. Now again, this is just using some effects, so I'm not really quite sure what they were trying to do with this one. This one's kind of cool. Again, though, it's not, when you think of design elements, it's hard to figure out what they were trying to do. Okay, this one got super themed, and I think it's great, the approach. It's super creative and stuff, but again, these are more illustrations than what the assignment calls for. The assignment calls more for just using design elements in principle. So again, the umbrella, I don't know. It's not. This one's kind of cool. I mean, they earned a good amount of credit, but not full credit because they spent a ton of time on it too. So anyway, so try to just stick with the specifications. Think of it as a client. That's why I'm kind of a stickler about the details. So it really helps to really get used to paying attention, to the specs and delivering what the client wants. Let's see what else I have in here. All right. Too many little canned leaf images. This was popular in this class. I think this one looks great, and I like this one. Not sure what they're doing with this one. And then they put their original leaf in the middle. Now this one looks pretty cool, except for, again, this is a really nice texture, and it doesn't really look too much like a texture or a pattern fill or something. I think this one's really cool. And again, not quite sure why they used the gradient. I know why gradients are used, but I'm not sure that it works with this so much. And again, here too, gradients are, unless you have a reason for them, just stay away from them because they just look really generic. They're mostly used for shading. So, okay, there's some really good stuff in here. I love this one, and he did this all himself. Now this one I like, but I'm not sure what these white grid thing over it is. And again, another person that decided to get clever with the text. I think this one's really nice too, but I would get rid of the X and this white thing and just keep it with the black and the pink. But again, I think it looks too much like this one. So he thought that just by putting some big X over it, that would count as a whole new design. I can see when people do that. It's not, it's still a pretty high grade, but it's not a full credit. It's probably like maybe a B plus or something. So this one is excellent here. This one makes my eyes hurt because it's so like blurry. It just looks like it's vibrating. You don't ever want to do design that makes makes people's eyes hurt. This is just a pattern fill, so this is hardly any credit at all. So stay away from that. This one's pretty cool, actually. These two are actually really, really pretty cool, especially this one. So again, is that all I have here? Okay, and then this guy did this, and again, they're more illustrations, but they're pretty good. So these two, they're creative and all, but they don't really speak to design elements. This one speaks to color and repetition, but this one's really nice. He used the tools in Illustrator. He didn't overdo using that stroke. And I think this one's really cool too, though again, it's more an illustration than what the assignment calls for. So I'm going to show you a couple more, and then I won't be babbling on anymore. So let's see here. Again, too many canned, like patterns. You don't want to use stars. Stars are kind of frowned upon in the design world because they're so easy and they just look kind of cliche. Now this one looks pretty cool. Again, they could have done a little bit more with the design of it. Now again, we went over this one already. So this one here, again, they didn't need to use the texture and they didn't need to use the gradient, and it would have really came off. I think the black and white one looks really great. This one, again, they just threw the texture in, probably because they liked it, but it doesn't really work, the gradient. And this gradient, this is a pretty nice leaf, but the gradient is not necessary. Just figure out other solutions to designs, because you don't want to use just stuff in Illustrator because it doesn't develop your design skills. Let's see what else. Yeah, we already went over this one. Now this is a low score. It's really sloppy. They didn't really outline the leaves very well, and they don't really have any design elements. It's basically all lines. There's no variety at all here. So it's probably a rush job that they started Sunday night and just didn't have time to finish it. Here too, this is a really good start, but again, it's the same pixel width stroke. They didn't vary it. There's so many different things you can vary with the strokes and the sizes, colors. You can give it that kind, some of those ones that look, irregular. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say. But yeah, I just wanted to go over those with you, and yeah, have fun with this assignment. It's really fun. It really is. Don't overdo the color, and don't overdo the textures and the filters and all that stuff in Illustrator, because it creates a piece that it's not as effective as a portfolio, because everybody in the design industry knows all these things that are in the software, so they kind of don't, it's not really super respected. So you kind of want to just keep keep it simple, even, but just not too simple, and focus on the design elements, and you'll be fine. And again, you can always grab me on Hangouts or email me your draft, and I'm always happy to give feedback. And I do hold WebEx rooms that you can come into and show me your work, and we can actually talk or type whatever you want. Okay, so I'm pretty flexible, and yeah, you guys are doing great in the class. So yeah,